Weekend warriors, we drinking it down. Raise your voices and stare at this town. We're the champions of craft beer sport. Tolkien audio, we hold down the fort.
You ever just sit back and wonder what the hell is going on right now? And in like the best way possible, because I know it's been like 6 years now where a lot of us are asking exactly that question, but not in a particularly good way. And that's the experience I just had here on Thursday afternoon, right here in the TCA studio. As you may know, it's in beautiful Bytown, Canada. Matt Robinson, along with you. Hazy Days IPA from Cowbell Brewing Company. That's a bit of a foreshadowing, both because the person who's going to be here tomorrow morning, Friday morning, also had a Cowbell beer, but also because I'm sort of left in a haze a bit myself right now on what just happened. And I'm going to be annoying about it. I'm not going to give too much away. But I just had a guest in here in studio, and it's somebody we've spoken to once or twice before on the show, but who made time to come into the studio. They're only in town for like a day, and you're coming here. The number of media outlets in the nation's capital, the number of places you can go, the number of things you could see and people to talk to, and you're coming here to the TCA studio, and I love it. I am so appreciative. I am on cloud 9 right now that this happened. And that show is going to drop for you on Friday morning. But this is one of those people that you're just like, I admire. I can't believe that just happened. And as I said, sort of off the top, you're like, what is going on right now? This stupid show. And it's on the rise. Like a lot of you hearing me right now weren't here a year ago. Some of you weren't here a couple of years ago, 3 years. Like there's a lot of you that have been around, and I love the hell out of you guys. I see it when you retweet our stuff, when you tag us in things, when you mention us in things. I never really thought that we would get to a point where this is happening, and now based on that, right, based on the accumulation of listeners, based on the number of you that share our stuff, we get people to come in here that in my wildest dreams I never thought would happen. It's one thing, and look, you appreciate all your guests. You appreciate anybody who took the time to talk to you at all. But coming in studio is a different commitment, especially if you're not from around here. Or if you are from around here, but maybe you don't live here anymore and are just back briefly. Little teases. And when these people take the time to come in studio, and these are the people that are some of the biggest names in the Canadian sports industry, they're sitting across the table from you, having a beer with you, you're just like, I don't know. I don't know what this little thing we've built has turned into. But man, I love it. I'm so appreciative. Friday morning show, I think you guys are going to absolutely love it. I know I did. I think you will too. I'm pretty sure you will too. But even if you don't, the fact that I got to is enough. Big show dropping Friday morning. Big show dropping Friday morning. Big show Friday night as well. At the time that I'm recording this, we are just over 24 hours away from the start of the World Series in Toronto at the Dome. It's possible that by the time you hear this, it'll be just under 24 hours, but we're not going to be a stickler about it. We're just going to be happy together. Because what a week this has been. It's funny, off the top, on Tuesday morning, I recorded the Joy Pod, the counterbalance to the Rage Pod. that so often I've been in here to record. And honestly, if we're being fair, it's been the Leafs that have most often forced me into the rage pod. But the Jays, they're not totally innocent. Their hands aren't totally clean on it. And we only had to go back a couple of days to Game 5 and all of that. We're not gonna get into the specifics because who cares now? The Mariners are gone. Their history. It doesn't matter what happened there. We're gonna play the Dodgers. But to be able to sit down the day after a Game 7 and do something called the joy. We've never had the word joy in any. We've been doing this for 10 years. We're over 1,600 episodes. I can't remember a single time the word joy has been in the title of an episode. And there it was. Tuesday. Joy Pod. I might be wrong. Those might be what the controllers were called on the Nintendo Wii? No. What was the other one? The Nintendo Switch. It's not Joy. It was Joy-Cons, maybe? I don't know. Doesn't matter. We are going to see the Toronto Blue Jays play in the World Series against the Los Angeles Dodgers. And they will be the underdog, which is funny because we have home field advantage, which says, correctly, we were the better team this year in the regular season. But we've talked about this before on the hockey front, right? We've seen the Tampa Bay Lightning. We've seen the Florida Panthers. We've seen the Colorado Avalanche just punt on the regular season, essentially. I used to be one of those people that says you can't just flip a switch. You got to be cruising going into the playoffs. I am not that guy anymore. If you're a good enough team, you can just flip a switch. Just play well enough to get in and then fire it up when you have to. Took the Panthers a minute against the Leafs. Let us get up 2-0. You're like, hey, maybe we're going to be the ones who knock off the Panthers. Wham, 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 wham. Ah, I see. Just took a minute to start. The engine did it. Assholes. It is, I've been watching coverage of Media Day here on Thursday, and I'm still just in a place that's like, I cannot believe not only that we're here and the Jays are about to play World Series games, it's starting in Toronto. And would it really matter if we were starting on the road? Probably not. But the fact that Media Day is here, and I guess Pharrell Williams, for some reason, will be the musical act. Game 1. I saw one tweet. I have no idea if it's true or not. It would be the only thing that makes sense. Is that Pharrell was part of the musical team or part of creating whatever the MLB playoff theme is on Fox. And so that's why he is the chosen performer. Like, no matter who was involved, he was probably going to perform at Game 1. Fine. I don't care. It is odd. I expect to hear I'm So Happy, which is one of my most hated songs. I assume that will play throughout the broadcast as well, going to break and stuff like that. Point being, Pharrell Williams is in Toronto because the World Series is starting in Toronto. The LA Dodgers, they put out that tweet the other day. I guess it was Wednesday when they were going to fly up from LA. It's like, we're Toronto bound. And the picture is of Shohei Ohtani approaching a flight to Toronto. And fuck, did I hate it. But man, is it a good troll. Man, is that a good tweet, a good post. Takes us all back a couple of winters when we all thought, thanks JP Morosi, we all thought Ohtani was on a plane to Toronto. He was going to sign here. Yusei Kikuchi had, I guess, booked a reservation at a sushi place. That was supposed to be, oh man, that was supposed to be the confirmation that this was real. And it was not real. So shout out to the Dodgers social media team. I hate you, and I hate that post. It's a good post. Trolling Toronto just a little bit. John Schneider at Media Day said, yeah, you know what? I hope he's going to give our hat back. That little jacket we gave his dog. Come on. You didn't sign here. Give us our stuff back. You got to be able to laugh about it. Shohei, when he was interviewed, said, yeah, you know, I still got it. It's in my garage somewhere. That's nice. That's great. But he said, you know, top organization, classy, blah, blah, blah. This week has been so much fun, and I got a couple of tweets, a couple of messages after the Joy Pod on Tuesday morning saying that all you did was use the word fun like 30 times. And I went back, listened to a little bit, and it's a fair criticism, but that's because it's fun. We're in the World Series. We are the underdog. That's fine. But you have dragged Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman and all these guys. I tweeted out, I think it was on the day that the Dodgers swept the Brewers. And their manager said, yeah, you know what? Everyone says we're ruining baseball. Let's win another one and really ruin baseball. And I quoted that and I said, if you're the bad guy, lean into it. Because there is no way out of it. If you're the Dodgers, everyone already hates you. There is no way you're going to play the Jays, and we'll see whether nationalism comes into this. I don't know. You weren't going to play the Mariners when you were playing, if you were going to play the Mariners, I should say, when you were playing the Brewers, you're the bad guy. You spend all the money, you get all the superstars, and whap, 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 whap. Everybody hates you anyway. Lean into it. Be the bad guy. Say, yeah, we're here to ruin baseball. Yes, I am that wrestling nerd. John Cena, to turn bad guy, said, I'm going to win the title. This is my last year. I'm getting ready to retire. I will retire with the championship. And you will all know forevermore that whatever new championship they have to make up later is not real. The real champ retired, took the belt with him, and went home. And that was a great angle. It was a great way to come at it.
Sorry, I don't understand.
And they bailed on it, and that's fine. But that's the Dodgers. Just lean into it. Be the bad guy. And now, to us, they are the bad guy. It's funny, I've said it once or twice here during the playoffs. Like, I have to get past the big, bad Yankees and the amount of money they spend. We're a top 5 payroll in baseball now, too. We can't pretend small market this, low payroll that. But against the Dodgers, if you want to, you can still play that card. They spend ungodly amounts of money. You look at everything, Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Shohei Ohtani and the Blake Snell ends up down there and Roki Sasaki's going to come out of the bullpen and Max Muncy and Will Smith. Teoscar Hernandez, you're my boy. You're our guy. And you're part of the Death Star this week. It's so strange that the Toronto Blue Jays with Ernie Clement and Trey Savage, who when he starts game one, he's going to start, will have started more playoff games in his major league career than regular season games. That's a wild story. Nathan Lucas, 10 years in the minors. He's going to be between George Springer and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. against the Dodgers. It feels like, and they've played this angle up, and I like it on Thursday. Doesn't this feel kind of David versus Goliath? When you ask that question, shouldn't you already know that the answer is that David won? David beat Goliath. So sure, if that's the way you want to frame this, let's go. Man, I am fired up, as you can tell. Toronto Blue Jays in the World Series. Let's briefly talk about Bo. When I did the Joy Pod on Tuesday, when I went back and I listened, like, you didn't make a single rational point. Nothing you said dissected what had just happened or predicted what was about to happen. You were just on here spouting off about things that also made you happy. I remember when Team Canada did this at the Olympics. Fair. That is what I did. But those were the feelings going through my head right at that moment. When you do the Rage Pod, when you do the Joy Pod, it's not about rational stats and, WRC plus that and home this or that. It's just, here's what I feel right now, and you spit it. And that's what happened for that show. And that's essentially been what this one is. Feelings about what just happened in the studio a little while ago that you're all going to hear on Friday. And so many feelings about what's going to go on over the next 5 to 10 days in the World Series, kicking off in Toronto. Have I mentioned that? You dragged all these people to Toronto. Toronto sports media, Toronto news media will be there. National sports media, national news media. LA, not exactly a small market. They've got huge following. Shohei Ohtani and Roki Sasaki and some of the other Japanese players on that. There's like 100 Japanese media people alone following the Dodgers around this year, especially for the World Series. They're all going to be there. You have brought the sports world to Toronto. Only thing comparable is when you brought the NBA Finals to Toronto in 2019. The Stanley Cup, as much as we love it, does not register the same way worldwide that the World Series does and that the NBA championships do. So this is a new level for Toronto. The fact that we have brought all of these people here. So it's terrific. It's fantastic. And I have no idea how I talked myself into this little corner and where I was trying to go. But this is the biggest stage. We're comparing, I don't even know. I guess the lineup for the Dodgers will go Shohei versus... Shohei and then Mookie and then Freddie Freeman, I guess. Like up and down. Like I know Shohei can do whatever. You're going to get to see, as we continue to spiral all over the place, Shohei pitch, probably in Game 3, to Vladdy in a World Series game. That's iconic stuff. That takes you back to the WBC a few years ago when it was Shohei pitching to Mike Trout. And this is incredible. This preseason tournament, this spring training tournament, has the feel of a playoff game. Well, this will be a playoff game. It's going to be one thing to watch your guys, Trey Savage, pitch to Shohei. That's going to be incredible for Blue Jays fans. But at some point, Shohei's going to pitch to Vladdy. And regardless of how that goes, that's a matchup, right? That's a moment. That's something you're going to remember for a long time. So, as I said, I've talked myself into a few different corners here and woven my way through a couple different areas, and I can't remember the line that I meant to be on to get out of here. So we're just going to basically let this be it. It's Bo, you idiot. Bo is the line you're supposed to be following right now. Future Matt here checking in during the edit, realizing really only baseball-specific point I wanted to get to had been forgotten. And so we're going to insert this here. The talk is on Thursday afternoon that Bo Bichette is ready. And he sort of put that out himself, talking to American media back during Game 6, Game 7 of the ALCS. We have seen signs from Blue Jays media throughout the week that he's been running the bases. And on Wednesday afternoon, I believe it was, reports that he was fielding ground balls at second base, which makes me a little nervous. But there really aren't any easy options that wouldn't make you nervous when talking about what to do with Bo. You want that bat back in the lineup, but one of the things that has gotten the Blue Jays here is tremendous defense. And look, he was sort of holding you back from that even in his own traditional position at short. You love the bat, but his fielding, he's one of the worst shortstops in baseball defensively. And now he hasn't played in several weeks, and he's coming off a knee injury that you have to assume is going to limit his movement laterally. And Andres Jimenez has been terrific for you defensively at short. So what do you do with Bo? Well, the fact that you've seen him taking ground balls at second base would suggest that I guess that's going to be an option. But if we're talking about the Jays and how stable their defense has been, you're talking about playing Bo over IKF or over Ernie Clement, who are both far superior defenders. We have to assume we've never, ever seen Bo play second base in the big leagues. And now you're going to ask him to do it for the first time in the World Series. I don't know. That freaks me out a little bit. I can see why you would have him take some fielding practice out there. You never know what's going to happen in a World Series, but I can't imagine they're excited about that. One of the reasons you have to, I guess it would be IKF who moves to the bench. What do you like? Barger goes to third. Barger would stay in right field. Clement would be at third, and that's okay if you trust Bo. And maybe these are scenarios that are after Bo pinch hits. Maybe it's not going to be a starting thing. Because the other option is putting Bo at DH, where he doesn't have to field anywhere. And if we're talking about Bo in a vacuum, that's the solution that makes the most sense. But nothing works in a vacuum. That's George Springer's spot at DH. Do you want to, at the best of times, based on how George is hitting for you, do you want to disrupt him and put him back in the outfield and say, we also need you to do that? That would put Bo at DH. Clement would go from third to second. And then Barger would move from right field to third. All of those guys are capable of doing that. But with how locked in George has been, I don't know how much I want to ask him to do on top of that. And then you factor in the knee injury in the last series, how hobbled he looked at times. Now, I have gotten replies in there, fair enough, that have suggested, after he hit the home run, he's jumping and he's celebrating. And that's true enough. But I'm not in love with anything that moves George out of DH to the outfield. But something's got to give. If you're bringing Bo into your World Series lineup, somebody's going to get displaced, and you're going to have to do something you don't want to do. Whether it's Bo at DH and George being pushed out into the outfield, whether it's Bo at second base, which is pushing somebody else. Like I said, Barger then is in right field, Clement's at third. But you've never seen Bo field at this position, let alone coming off an injury. Is Bo a pinch hitter that just comes in late? Is all of this a decoy? You don't have to submit your lineup for the World Series until 10 a.m. on Friday. So some of you will be listening to this after that and will already know the answer. But maybe all of this is they know he's just not going to be ready and you're just trying to rattle the Dodgers. I doubt that would work, but maybe that's what's happening. But there are no easy solutions. I can't imagine putting Bo, who was already a substandard defensive shortstop, back at short, now on a burnt knee, and asking Jimenez to go back to second. That I can't imagine that's happening. All of this under the cloud of needing to give that guy a new contract, or not. But if you think there's a chance you can re-sign him this winter, somewhere someone is having the conversation about we don't want to piss him off. Right? Like, that's got to be part of the equation. And maybe it shouldn't be. You are at the World Series. Best lineup, best defense, do what you got to do to win games. And I think everybody believes that if you're going to beat the Dodgers at some point, you'll need Bo's bat in your lineup. But you don't love Bo's defense. And all of this is probably leading towards some sort of conversation that says if you're going to re-sign Bo, he needs to be willing to at least consider the idea he's going to play somewhere else. You have Jimenez for a while here. You like Bo's bat. You don't like his D at short. So do you ruffle his feathers now in the hopes that it won't bug him later when you talk contract extension? Ideally, that doesn't factor in. We're trying to win a World Series. You have made it this far. You make the best decisions possible. But these are human beings involved, and they all have feelings. They all have emotions. They're all real people. So what do you do that allows him to be a part of it when you need him to be a part of it, that doesn't burn you defensively, that allows you to have the conversations you need to have with him later if you're going to be able to re-sign him? There's a lot of moving parts here. Springer is involved. Jimenez is involved. Clement is involved. Barger is involved. I have no idea what we're going to see. I don't think the fact that some reporter saw him taking ground balls at second base, I don't think that means he's your starting second baseman through the World Series, but I do think they're preparing him for if he pinch hits for IKF at some point and has to stay in the game, he'll at least have taken a couple of turns out there. And he's a good baseball player. Like, he knows what to do at that spot, but he's never done it at the big league level. So I don't know. I think the only time you're going to see him at second, and it's just a guess, is that if he's pinch hit for IKF. But maybe the plan is for him to DH, and George is out in right field, and Barger moves to third. I guess in that situation, Clement is at second, and IKF's on the bench. And that's fine. I don't think you miss Clement's or IKF's bat. But there's a lot of moving pieces here. So we'll see. Anyway, as I was doing the edit, I could hear I was wrapping things up, and having started a section that was supposed to be all about Bo, I didn't talk about Bo at all. So we talked about Bo and all the pieces that move into it. This is it, the calm before the storm. On two different fronts. We've got a big show dropping for you on Friday. It is a certified beauty. And then we've got the Jays and the Dodgers. Game 1, World Series. Blake Snell versus Trey Yesavich on Friday night at the Dome. Incredible. I am fired up. One of the things that I've sort of been working my way through here is my love rankings for my favorite teams. And recency bias is an interesting thing you got to be careful of. I would suggest to you I am a more knowledgeable hockey fan than I am a baseball fan. Like, if you want me to guess who's playing third line right wing for the Oilers as opposed to who's batting sixth for the Reds or something like that, I'll probably be more accurate on the hockey stuff. But I might love the Jays more than I love the Leafs. Again, got to be careful. Leafs have let you down a bunch of times. The Jays are riding high right now. But even when they've been bad, I'm still watching. I'm still there. And that moment on Monday night, when there was two of them, right? When Springer hits the home run, when Hoffman gets the final strikeout, I don't know that I've ever had that feeling before in sports. Makes you go, I wonder if my love for the Jays is a little more pure than my love for the Leafs. Rage Pod, Joy Pod. Hard to decipher for sure in this moment because you're riding so high. The Jays' vibes are so immaculate. But we'll see. That's sort of where my feelings are at right now. I think Leafs trivia, hockey trivia versus Jays trivia, baseball trivia. I'm probably doing far better on the hockey thing. But love, which teams really got a hold of your heart? It's closer than I thought it would be. And it might be Jays. I'm not sure I knew that about myself until this week. We'll see what's going to happen here. Friday show, a certified beauty, going to be a big one. Please make sure you tune in for that. And then we'll be around throughout the next week or so, talking Toronto Blue Jays in the World Series. As we said on Tuesday during the Joy Pod, go ahead, keep saying it to yourself. Feels good, feels nice, feels fun. The Toronto Blue Jays are going to the World Series. And as of Friday, it's arrived. The Toronto Blue Jays are in the World Series. Thanks for listening. My name's Matt Robinson. We'll see you Friday morning for a really special edition of Tall Can Audio. Talk to you then.
Yo, Can Warriors are drinking it down. Raise your voices and stare at this town. When the